In this video, we're going to take a look at how you can set up the charging against your client so you can invoice them for your services. Head to Client on the left-hand side and go to Overview. For an existing client, you can click on Actions and Edit. However, for a new client, simply click Add New Client at the top. Once you've filled out the General tab with your client's details, you can then move on to the charging setup. There are 3 tabs where you can do this. You have the picking costs, the storage costs, and the goods in costs. On picking costs, the first option you see for picking calculation type is per item. This is the most common and the example which I'll go through in this video. There are many other ways to charge for picking, storage, and occasionally goods in, and these can be found in the help guides. I'll show you the relevant help guide in a moment. If charging per item picked, you can set here the cost for the first item that you would pick for an order. For example, I might charge £1 for the first item I pick and 50p for each item afterwards. If I had to pick an order with 4 products in it, I would charge £1 and then 50p 3 times. If I've set up on Mintsoft the carton sizes of a product, I can enable carton picking cost here and set the price for picking cartons. If, for example, 10 units of a product were 1 carton and I had to pick an order for 12 units, it might charge £2 for this carton pick and then 2 units, so £1 and an additional 50p. You can also put in a different cost for additional carton picks. The same principle then applies for pallet picking costs. You can turn this on and set up against your products the pallet sizes. Further down on the page, you can set costs for returns items, additional items that have been returned. You can put a default packing fee per order. You can also put a per admin fee. For example, you might have a 20p flat rate that gets added on to every order on top of the picking costs. If this is not the picking method that you use, you might find that one of the items on this drop down here is. The best place to find information for the other methods is via the help guides here. On the help guides, if you search 3PL, you'll find a help guide called Mintsoft, supporting you with 3PL accounting. This is an excellent help guide to bookmark and keep safe. If we scroll down, you'll see here that there are different categories of help guides, and each of these bullet points is a link to more information. For example, picking costs, you can see here guides for different methods of charging. Further down, we have guides on confirming invoices, creating invoices. We have guides for different storage charges and much more information too. If we go over to storage costs, once again, there are many methods to charge here. One important thing to take note of for all customers and clients is that this setting at the bottom needs to be turned on for any charging to happen for storage. The reason it's not on by default is sometimes when you add a new client, you may give a month or 2 of free storage as an incentive. So you'll need to turn this on when you're ready to charge. Under storage type here, there are a few methods. If you were to charge per cubic meter, simply leave it at volumetric and put your per cubic meter cost in the field here. If you were to charge a flat fee per month or per week, you could put stock management fee. This field would become redundant and you could put in the cost at the top, for example, £200 per month. Another common charging method is location type usage. This is where you might charge a cost per day, week or month for a pick bin being in use or a pallet space being in use or any other location type that you've set up on Mintsoft. You'll add the costs for these separately. I'll show you that in just a moment. There is an alternate for location type usage of highest point location type usage. If you were doing the standard one and you had it to weekly, for example, you might charge at the end of the week on a Friday for all the pallets in use on that Friday, and it will charge that cost across the whole week. With highest point location type usage, it might be the case that on Wednesday you had 10 pallets being used in your warehouse, but on Friday you only had 5. Mintsoft would recognize that during the week the highest point in use was 10 pallets and it would charge 10 pallets for the week. This depends on the agreement you have with your client. If you need to set up the costs for location type usage, the help guides will give you the information. But for the purpose of this video, you can also go to 3PL accounting, to the overview. I'll open this in a new tab so we can come back here in a moment. If we scroll down, on the right hand side you have location type storage prices. I have some examples here for a fitness client where a picking location is charged at 50 pence a day, a bulk storage location is charged at £2 a week, and a replen location is charged at 40 pence per week. To add new charges, simply click Create at the top. You can choose the client that you're setting the charge up for, the location type, the cost, and the frequency at which it should be applied. If you leave the client as all, it will be the same price for all clients, providing they have been set to location type usage or highest point location type usage. It might be the case that your pick cost, for example, would be £2 per week, and you put that for all clients and create. If you then had a new client and for them you only charged £1.50 per week, if you specify that client on the charge, Mintsoft will know to charge this one and not the price for everybody. This makes it simpler to set up rules in bulk. If we go to the goods in tab, you can put here the cost for goods in per carton, per pallet, and various other sizes of delivery. For an example, you might charge £5 for each pallet that a customer sends to you. By putting in 5 here, when you are creating an ASN under warehouse ASNs, at that point, the client or yourself, whoever is inputting the ASN into Mintsoft, will specify the size of the delivery. If they specified a 10 pallet delivery, it would charge 10 lots of this and therefore charge £50. Further down, you can also put in some extra costs, such as the hourly rate for an ASN. If this is relevant for you and you charge your clients per hour on top of that fee above, you could put in a cost of, for example, £20 per hour. And then when you're receiving the ASN on the PC, you can specify how many hours it took you to put away, and Mintsoft will also add that charge against the client. Thank you.